Welcome back to our weekly live event. I'm Baskal Korkis, and we're going to go over real estate and finance today. Got a lot of updates, a lot of good stuff to talk about, and we're going to be going live with the Donis brothers. There's three guys, a brother and two twin brothers. All of them are under 23 years old, and they're doing big things in the real estate game. Today we're going to be going over the property that they're looking to buy in Miami, Florida. It's a 17-unit property, all studios. We're going to run the numbers. We're going to see, is this a good deal? Hope everybody's doing well. It's good to see everybody again. It's been about 2 weeks since we last saw each other, so I'm hoping you guys have a lot of great questions. I really want to help you guys out. And as you know, we're getting super busy here. My mortgage company is busy, accounting firm, insurance agency. Our acquisitions are really increasing. We just raised about $3 million to do more acquisitions on our first fund that we generated. So it's really awesome. Thank you guys for all your support and joining me on making these deals happen. So for now, let's see if we have any questions. Hannah, do we have any questions or any comments on YouTube and IG?
Yeah, Spenny King Rack says, would you say you're making a killing or doing very well in Airbnb?
I'm going to say we're printing money, right? So we're printing money right now. Things are going very well. Airbnb sucks, right? They're like a dictatorship, you know? So you kind of are stuck with how they are. But overall, I figured out what it takes to win in the short-term rental model, and people really like what we have to offer. We pick the best locations. I just hired a new assistant, and every property that I showed her, she was very, very impressed. And she's from the Tampa Bay market, and she was impressed with what she saw. We always get really great feedback from our clients. Once in a while, we do get those crazy ones, unfortunately. One of them had a pig. But overall, things are going really well. And again, we're just printing money. I mean, properties that would normally rent an average one-bedroom in Tampa and a standard, like C, B class is renting for roughly $700 to $850 a month. My properties as a one-bedroom rent for around $1,500 a month annually. As an Airbnb, we're getting roughly $3,500 a month for it. So if you see, I'm pulling, multiples above the average, at least 400% of what the average is. So, and you can imagine, if you do it properly, you're making 400% of the revenue. We're not having 400% of the expenses. We're probably only about 25 or 30% above our competition's expenses. So our profitability is extremely high. I'm running pro forma numbers on these new properties I'm looking at, and they're looking at internal rate of returns starting at 30%, and some showing as high as 70% internal rate of return. That's sick, right? So amazing numbers. I'm very, very happy. Like, if I can continue doing this, I'm going to outperform Warren Buffett by a massive amount, right? Warren Buffett looks for 15%, right? The stuff we're looking at is between 30 and 70%. So it's really, really great. It's location, operations management, and definitely knowing your client to be able to provide an awesome product.
There's a follow-up with that. Have you had any issues and had to claim on the Airbnb liability insurance?
No. Had a guy that did make a mistake, sent him a bill for, a few $100, or how much was it? How much was the bill? The guy who...
It's like more than 1,000.
Yeah, we charged him $1,000. Fortunately, we charged him $1,000 because it could have taken a lot of work to fix it. Fortunately, it took my guy 1 day, so it only cost us $300. So, and then we lost a day of rental, which cost us $200. So our expense was, say, $500. We ended up getting $1,000. So it still worked out. But again, it wasn't that big of a deal,
Preston Blankenship asks, he says, I'm about to take my NMLS MLO test.
Yeah.
What would you suggest I do first to start off in my journey?
Okay, so I'm assuming you're saying after you pass the test. Work for a team that can teach you, right? It's, guys have come, shadowed me and ended up getting it going into the mortgage industry. And the thing I tell them is like, look, if you don't have connections, you're gonna make hundreds of calls a day until you can call enough people to find someone that's wanting to do a refinance, do a purchase. The best thing you can do, no matter what you're in, mortgage, if you're going to open an accounting firm, if you do insurance, if you're going to do a real estate agent, any of those things that is revolving around sales, and basically everything is sales, you need to build relationships. People need to know they can trust you. Because even when the mortgage industry is no longer popular and you're not making money, you will be able to make money in your next industry because people will trust you. And that is key. Build good relationships, be trustable, be a man of your word, and good things will come. With time, good things will come.
When Vision asks, can you get investment mortgage on property intent for Airbnb?
Yes, you can. It's harder to find to get that type of loan. It is higher interest rates and more points up front, but it is doable. And in my opinion, even though they're higher than a conventional loan, they're still worth it because we're looking at rates right now for like 4.5. Well, a non-commercial, on 1 to 4 family, you're looking at rates at like 3.5 to 4% on a 1 to 4 family Airbnb property with roughly 2 to 3 points up front. Again, it's kind of high points up front, but you're getting a loan where someone knows you're going to Airbnb. Most places, if you tell them Airbnb, they're going to say no. So what people are doing is they're lying. They're telling them, I'm going to live in it, or I'm going to make it an annual rental, and then they just put it on Airbnb. I'd rather tell the truth and get a loan and have someone, basically the lender's your partner, that knows exactly what you're doing and is open with what you're doing. That's the best way to do it. Avoids headache and problems later.
The Donis brothers are in. Do you want to live chat now?
Sure.
Okay.
What's up, Baskal? How are you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you doing?
Doing well. It's just me tonight.
Oh, just you tonight? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry I'm late, but yeah, I was just curious. Did you by any chance take a look at that deal I sent over?
I did. Some of the information I couldn't access. I clicked on the links and it wasn't sending me anywhere. But I gathered enough information that gave me a good amount of information to talk about regarding things to watch out for and to things to keep in mind of. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going over the numbers. I wrote some of the numbers on the whiteboard, so we'll be able to kind of dig down deep in a little bit. So before we go into the numbers, give me the story. Tell me the story about this property. What makes you like it, and all of that.
Well, I mean, the broker brought me the deal. It's a 17-unit in Miami. It is older, which of course is a cause of concern. The owner is willing to owner finance, so that kind of caught my attention. I'm not too familiar with the Miami market, but after looking into it, it's about a 4-minute drive from a $1 billion development deal called Magic City Innovation. So that really caught my attention, as well as 7-minute drive from Miami Design District. Now it is in Little Haiti, which is not. It's known as it has that negative connotation as to it not being a good area. But like I said, that new development project is definitely going to bring more people into the area, and it's going to speed up the growth of the area, I really believe.
Yeah. So, have you seen the show Startup?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's a really good show. You learn a lot about startups in Little Haiti. What was the guy's name in Startup?
I don't remember their names.
So yeah, I was actually hanging out in Little Haiti when I went to the Bitcoin conference, and yeah, I was like, "Where the hell did you take me?" I was like, shit, I would have paid for a better place. I didn't know we were going here. It's it is going through its renaissance, or some people call gentrification. It's in the beginning process of the gentrification. So you bring up a lot of points. Before I even dissect the deal, I'm going to bring up a lot of points of what I've learned in the time I've been in the game. One, during a gentrification process, it is important that you're not the only person gentrifying a building, that a community is being gentrified. It's hard for you alone to do something, but it's great when a group of people are making an area better. With $1 billion complex that's being built, I have a $2 billion complex that's being built by one of the properties I'm buying. Actually, 3 of the properties I'm buying. And that's a 10-year project. It's 2 years in, and they haven't even broken ground and done anything yet. I believe the market's going to go down in 3 years. It was going to go down before COVID, but they pumped out so much money that all this money has to be spent up, and all the eviction moratorium has to be removed, and we'll have about 2 to 3 years before all those things hit the market. When those things happen, normally there's a credit crunch as well, and banks become more conservative on their lending. I'm saying, historically speaking, those things happen. So if that happens, the $1 billion complex gets pushed back even further. So it doesn't happen as quick as you think. So it's good to have it, but understand that it's probably 10 years out before you're going to get the benefit of it. Don't assume it's going to be as quick as you think it's going to be. Those are things to keep in mind. Overall, the things you mentioned, how close they are to those other items, those other areas, it is good. Miami is very, very cyclical. The ups are very high, the downs are very low. I mean, you'll feel it in a market. And as long as you're in a position where you can withstand those roller coasters, you can pick up a lot of properties on the low. As you know, I'm still buying deals now because I think you can always make money in real estate, no matter what the market is. Certain things I look at that are really important to me, and I buy in downtown markets, is I always make sure that I have enough parking for all the people there, and normally at least 1 parking spot per person or per apartment. Code today for new properties is 1.5 spots per apartment plus 1 guest spot for every 5 units. That's standard code. Each city and each county is going to have their own rule. So in this scenario, what would have been standard for this property would have been 17, 17, 9, 28. So you're looking at 32 to 33 spots, which, we'll say 30 spots would have been needed for this location. I did not see many pictures, but I saw some pictures, and from what it looks like, they only have maybe 8 spots to park cars.
It's not that big of a parking lot.
Exactly.
They have parking on the side, but it's not like reserved or designated parking on the property.
It doesn't have to technically be reserved or designated as long as there is spots for people to park. Because
it's like a corner lot off of like a kind of a main road, so there's definitely like parking along the road, as well as that reserved parking, which they're not really charging people for reserved parking in those spots. And the property management company said that we could potentially bill people for reserved parking in those kind of spots, but that's just kind of getting a little ahead.
No. It's good to be able to price in what you're going to do, and I always do the same thing. I price in the potential upgrades I could put in to see what can I generate once it's completed. I know in this market, I found in a good area, it's very difficult to find a property that has a good cap rate from the beginning. Normally, I try to find a property that at least has a decent cap rate, and I can do a significant amount of value add to increase the cap rate to a good level. So you're buying the property where they're stating a 6.5 cap. When I ran the numbers currently at the ask that they're asking, and based off of the expenses that they left off, they're really at like a 4 cap for this property. I didn't see anything for property management for this. I didn't see anything for asset management. The property taxes are way too low. The property taxes are not based off of the new sale price. So all those numbers are really low. Your property taxes are.
I agree with you. I think they're asking 2.2 mil. I think it makes more sense. I think they're over asking, honestly. So that's what I sent you. I think 1.6 would be a lot more in the ballpark where we'd play. And from what I've heard, it's a potential play at that number. I think they really just want an offer. Now there could be multiple reasons as to why that might be. So we kind of would have to dig into that. But with the seller willing to finance, maybe 10% down. You're in 1.6 mil, 165,000 down, and then your NOI would be, I think I was at like 100 maybe. After raising rents, average rent is 883, and in the market, after speaking with property management, it should be 950 to 1,000. You can increase NOI by 10 grand minimum, and you're in at 165K, not including any Capex. It seems like at that number, of course, it would potentially make sense.
It would make more sense. Anna, can you turn the camera to the whiteboard? Here you go. This should be better.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna need the lighting?
Am I gonna need it? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
You're the
Yes.
professional. I'm just a finance guy.
Just pretty face.
Okay.
I'm just a pretty face. Yes, that's right. All right. There we go.
There you
I'm gonna try to get that in there. I probably look weird. I'm staring right in front of that like second camera. That's funny. So yeah, 2.2 million ask, 10% down, 4%. I do see you're saying 1.65. You're about 200 grand in for the cash on cash. You're estimating 35% for Capex.
Little low.
It's a little low. I would say be careful because anyone that does a reno, I can't tell where I'm supposed to stand. Anyone that does a reno, normally I don't like buying properties that have been renoed already. Normally it's a shitty job. Even if they put in granite countertops and whatever, when you're buying a building that's over 30 years old plus, you have to double check the plumbing, the cast iron. So the building that I'm buying, that's 1920. I'm paying $1 million roughly, $925 for the fourplex. I'm buying another one for $925 for a triplex. I'm gutting it down to the studs. All new plumbing because it's cast iron. You can't tell if they removed the cast iron or not. So all new plumbing, all new electrical, all new AC, spray foam, insulation, new drywall, new flooring, new kitchens, new bathrooms, new roof, new hurricane windows, new hardy siding. Now your building does look like it's concrete block, which is one advantage that I like. It's a lot easier to maintain and work on the exterior walls. What comes into play is you don't know what's behind the walls, and normally that figure is going to be a lot. Again, I don't know anything about the building, so I'm making assumptions off of prior experience. I can't really tell you exactly what's up with the building, but I'm going to say this is light. It's very light. I'm saying it's the reality when you start getting into things over 10 years. This figure is probably going to be more like $350,000, $400,000 easy. Because again, I don't know what the roof is like. I don't know a lot of factors of what that's going to cost a lot of money. The AC units, I don't think they're central. They're going to be wall units. So every 3 years, you're going to be putting in 2 to 3 new wall units in each apartment. So you're talking about like, if you buy the cheap ones, you're looking at $150 a piece. So you're looking $450 a unit times 17 units. So you're talking about a lot of money. And normally I put in mini splits. So I'm looking at putting in $4,000 AC units in each one. But I'm targeting a different client because I know if I put the money up front, the client I'm targeting isn't going to break it and is willing to pay for the niceness. The other thing I want to kind of bring to is now, I'm going to continue over the numbers and then I'm going to go over what I think. So 17 units, $170,000, expenses $137. They're saying it's 6.25, but the reality is really it's like 4. If you buy it at $200 a square foot, which is roughly $165, which is the price you're looking to buy it at, you know, you're at $200 a square foot, which $200 a square foot for Miami is a fair price, right? It's not high, it's a fair price. The lot though, so that brings you to roughly a 6.38 cap rate after you take out for property management and vacancies. That does not account for the additional money you should be asking for property taxes. It doesn't account for your asset management fee. It doesn't account for other factors. So really, when you really net it out, it's probably going to be like a 6.5 cap, which is fair, right? But you have to increase all the rents to that level. So you don't know if there's going to be vacancies along the way, people are going to leave, and so on. These are the things, when I buy a property, what I'm actually buying is the land. I'm buying land, and I get a free building on that land. So when you said, Baskal, you bought a fourplex for $900,000, I'm basically telling you, I think that dirt's worth $900,000. I got a free fourplex on top, and I'm going to be using that fourplex to make me money while that dirt gets even more expensive. When you're buying $1.65 million for a 6,000 square foot lot, that's small. That's super small. That's basically enough space to put one house. So you don't have much land appreciation. You don't have much play. You got one play. You got one thing that's going to work for you is you hope that market blows up and people will pay a crazy amount of money for a studio. That's your hope. That's your one shot, which you're in a good area, or not in a good area. You're in an up and coming area which has potential to be good. It's not good yet, but has potential to be good. So you do have the potential for that one trick, which is, hey, I don't have a lot of money. I want to live close to this area, and I'm going to rent a studio. I hope this studio ends up being $1,200, $1,500. That's basically the shot you're taking. There isn't any other shot other than that. Because God forbid that building burns down, the government will not allow you to rebuild 17 units. You'd probably be able to get maybe 4, based off of the land size. And based off of the cost of you're going to have to build up, it's going to be so expensive. If it burns to the ground, you would not be able to get anywhere close to, you would basically break even on the deal. Hopefully, right? Between the amount of money the insurance gives you, then you demo the land and now you have an empty lot. So the upside potential is only one shot. When I look for deals, I try to find properties that have many ways of bringing money. So I look at if a property got bulldozed to the ground, what else can I do there? Can I flip it many different ways to win? The other thing that I look for is this. If you bought that 17 unit for $1.65 million, are the houses down the street close to $1.65 million? Single family or duplex? Because if the answer is yes, then that means you're in a good area and that you have a ton of potential. If the answer is no, the area is still pretty low income, then you're in a very speculative play. So I can't give you that answer because I have not dug deep enough into it. I've only spent enough time to give you what I'm seeing. The thing that I would, if I was going to do this, right? If I was going to do this deal, what would I want to do? I don't want to. I'm giving you both sides how I would do this deal. I would buy this property for under 1.65. I'd probably try to get it for closer to like 1.4, 1.5. Okay. Then I would go through and I would demo all of the downstairs units and remodel everything. Then I would demo the top units and remodel everything. I would spend roughly $700,000 on the property, on the top end. to fully remodel everything and force appreciation to the building. And then target the rent of probably $1,200 to $1,500. Then I would aim for Airbnb-ing the studios for $2,500 to $3,000 a month, and I would have probably like 6 of them. And then the parking spots that you have on the property, you designate those for only the Airbnb guests. That way, you can get the money necessary to earn the cap rate to spend your time. Because what you're going to notice if you don't do that, the people that you're going to get at that price point. Now, some people watching on IG will be like, whoa, $850, $950, that's a lot for a studio. You got to understand, that's not for Miami. That means you're poor. That means you're poor in Miami. So that means you're going to end up having. My uncle told me this. My uncle back in the day, he had a decent amount of properties. And he told me that every single tenant of yours is a family member. And every one of those family members are going to bring you their problems. So do you want those 17 people's problems that are currently living there? Most likely the answer is no. Because when the economy tanks, and I'm telling you when it tanks, not if, it's going to eventually tank. Something's going to happen. Crazy shit happened for the last 35 years of my life that you would be like, that's unexpected. Happens every 7 years. Something unexpected happens. They're going to go through the roughest time. And when they go through the roughest time, you go through the roughest time. And it's going to totally hurt your business. So what hurt me in 2008 when I was 23, I had 23 units. What hurt me was the properties I owned in South St. Pete and the South Side, the properties I owned in Newport Richey, the properties where I thought they had the most upside potential hurt me the most. The properties that had upside potential but were in good areas were more consistent, and I was able to go through the rough times. So what I'm doing now is I'm buying properties in rough condition, but my plan is I have 2 years before the market goes bad, most likely 3 years. I have to renovate everything, bring them up to this high standard, to a B plus A, to afford affordable luxury, and then refinance. So then when the market gets a little rocky, I have people in there that can still maintain to pay $1,200 to $1,500 a month in rent. And when they need to leave, I'll be able to find someone else that used to be renting a $2,500 one bedroom, move into this $1,500 luxurious studio, and then them thinking, hey, it's still affordable. Because they were used to paying $2,500. They're like, you know what, I don't really need all that space. Let me just move into this studio for $1,500 because it's super nice. So that is both sides of what I see here.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and I like the fact what you do. It's very different because you're like, I think you had that 16 unit in Florida as well that you Airbnb a lot of those as well.
Yeah.
And I think I heard you earlier on the live saying that you earn $3,500 each unit. Like that's like triple what you would normally get on that single unit.
Yeah, I'm getting $3,500 for a one bedroom. Sometimes I get like almost $4,500 for the one bedroom. I get $2,500 for a studio for the month, and sometimes I get as high as like $3,500 for the studio for the month. Where, again, a studio in a different part of town would probably be around like $650. So I'm getting 400% on the whole studio, 400% on the one bedroom. The numbers work out well. So I'm okay with small units, but they better be wow. They better be really awesome. They better be like, you better have the right clients that want that, So it's great, it's really, really good. Just make sure that you're targeting the people that will be able to consistently give you money. They consistently can pay their bill.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So this is still fair. I'll just be very careful on that. Because, the other thing I do is I normally like buying, and this is the same thing, real estate guys say the same thing. You can only know 2 to 3 markets very well. So if you buy in this market, that means you're planning to keep buying in this market. One of the struggles I'm having right now is I have this 4,000 square foot house that's like decked out. And I'm listing it for sale and I can sell it and I'll make a lot of money. But I started looking online and I'm like, whoa, I can get some crazy money on this house I'm renting on Airbnb. Like I can make some really good money on it. And then I was like, I'm going to spend another, say, $100,000. I'm going to put in a sick pool with the jacuzzi, with the fireplace, convert the garage to a home gym, and paver everything, driveway, back porch, all that stuff. So deck it out, and I could probably get $20,000, $25,000 a month on Airbnb for this property. So the returns would be crazy high.
Yeah.
It's within the market that I'm already in. So a lot of the things check off my client base, the market. I have people that can manage everything for me because my people are already there. The issue is it's not within my wheelhouse. I don't rent houses. And that's going to deviate my attention from everything else I'm doing. So yeah, I might make a lot of money, but the attention I'm focusing on here is going to diminish everything else I'm doing over here. So by splitting my attention, the more you split your attention, you're going to get a reduced effectiveness on each thing you're doing. So I basically, even though I'm going to make a lot of money on it, I said, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to sell it. I'm going to make the money on the sale and use that to buy more properties that currently fit my model until I scale up to a larger pool where if I'm going to start renting houses on Airbnb, I can go buy 10 houses and set up another system to function without my attention. Because despite how much it feels like we're going to be able to do a lot, it doesn't work out that way. The reality is our attention is split, so our effectiveness drops. And our return on time is the most important return that you're looking for. You're looking at cap rate, you're looking at ROI. There's a thing that people don't consider, ROI on your time. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, honestly. But no, that what you do that's different, honestly. So like that, I like that.
Once you see, like you talk to Jake. He'll tell you what he got to see the last couple of days. Once you come down here and you see exactly how my operation runs and how granular we are on the details, you'll see that my 16 unit generates more income, net profit to your pocket than most other people's 160 unit property does. Like our returns are super high.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, we're actually going to be in Florida next week. Literally, we're leaving Saturday. Saturday, yeah. So, what part are you in again?
I'm in Tampa.
Tampa. We're going to be in Orlando. We're going to be in Vero Beach, and I might be in Miami.
So Miami's about 4 hours from me. Orlando's about an hour and a half.
Yeah. What about Jacksonville? We're going to be in Jacksonville as well.
Yeah, Jacksonville is also about 4 hours from me. So I'm in Tampa, so I'm like right here. Let me see. So there's a lag. Can you see this way?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Tampa's here. Jacksonville's up here. Orlando is here. Miami's down here. And Tampa's right here.
Okay,
so
gotcha, yeah.
4 hours, hour and a half, 4 hours. So Tampa's different. Like literally you'll come to Florida. Jacksonville's not Florida. Jacksonville's in Florida. It's not Florida. It's southern Georgia. It's not Florida.
Georgia.
It's southern Georgia. And then Orlando is its own animal. Tampa is its own animal. Tampa is like southern New Yorkers. Like it's New Yorkers, it's New Jersey people, it's Canadians, it's some people from California and Chicago, but it's basically like a southern New York. It's very different. And then you got Miami, which is again like another southern New York, but it's different. It's a different type of group of people. So
Yeah.
it functions very different. Why I like Tampa is its own economy. So, and within our own economy, our own submarkets, they function outside of the I would say United States economy, because when the U.S. economy tanked back in '08, certain cities in Florida, the areas that I'm in, didn't get affected very much because they're so insulated with the type of, I'm going to say, old money. And those people, the city is so small that it wasn't affected too much because those people live their life no matter how the global economy functions. So the prices didn't drop very much, if at all. The people that had money, I call it strong hands. Those people that have strong hands, they're like, look, I want this much or I'm not selling, period. I don't care what the market says. And people were still paying $1 million for 1,000 square foot commercial building. It was still, amazing things happening at that time. So with the thing with Miami and why I never really went to Miami is because in Miami, there's so many international investors, which while the wave is going up is great. Because they come in, they spend a crazy amount of money because they're not paying for appreciation so much, they're paying for safety. Because in their countries that they're coming from, the money is not as safe. The inflation is crazy high, higher than it is for us here. And they're trying to get it out of the country to be in a safer country, which is the United States. So, but when the economy goes bad, they need money and the currency exchange happens and our dollar is very strong against their currency, they'll start selling stuff here, even for a loss, because once they take their money back home, they can use so much, they can buy so much more stuff. So when the economy drops in a third world country where they don't have a lot of options for debt, their properties go from, let's say $100,000, you can start picking up stuff for like $10,000 and $20,000 because the people who need money need it bad and they don't have any other option. But where here, maybe their property value dropped $25,000. They're like, okay, I'll take a 20% loss here, but I'm going to be able to go buy a whole bunch of properties at an 80% discount. So I don't care. Sell it, give me the cash, let me go buy more stuff there. So that's part of what happens. So you got to be careful with each economy you invest in and each ecosystem. So normally when I buy properties here, I don't just look for waterfront properties. I look, how close are they to the baseball stadium? How close are they to the hospital? How close are they to this like college, like a law school or a medical school? Because when the economy is good, bad, or ugly, rich people are still sending their kids to law school. They're still sending their kids to medical
Hospitals are never going to go away.
They're never going to go away. And those rich people always have money. They're like, oh, this sucks. They're not going to stop sending their kids to law school. They're not going to stop paying their rent. So when you target those markets, you have some insulation from the outside issues.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, that's awesome. Yeah. We'll be in Orlando, so I think we're maybe going to meet up with Wagner from the Belize event. So I don't know how you said it's an hour and a half. Maybe we can link up, but we can definitely let you know, see if we can make something happen.
Yeah, I think you're going to definitely be surprised on how detailed the model is, and you'll probably pick up a lot of good nuggets.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out. That'd be awesome. But yeah, that was really it. I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. It's good seeing you.
Yeah, it was nice to see you too, man. You guys take care. God bless your family too.
God bless you. See you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Overall, pretty good. So this is a pretty good deal. Depends on how good, how good a deal is. Really depends on a lot of times the price you buy. I would have been a lot happier with this deal if I had more parking. But overall, pretty good. Cheaper they get it, the better the deal is.
Zach Starr had a question, and he said he just bought his first rental property for $125,000. what do you say is better, 2-family house or 3-family?
Location over number of units. Location over number of units. So you want to have a good location. Don't look for units, because if you have 5 units or 10 units and it's a bad location and they don't pay you rent, you got 10 people not paying you rent. But reality is you're not gonna have 10 people not paying you rent. You're probably gonna have 20% or 30% not paying you rent, which still you could probably survive, but it sucks. So it's better for you to just not have a headache. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. So.
Caramel Rich Walnut says, "Hi, I'm still waiting on my answer from the last Q&A. You said to remind you, and you messaged back."
So how about you tell me what the question is so I can remember?
Caramel Rich Walnut, if you're still here, please request to go live, and we'll find you that answer.
Because 2 weeks ago,
Let's see here. Okay. Last week, Sal Ruiz, the one from California, did a live video. I think he's wanting to do that. So
sure, let's do it.
Request. Okay, and Noah Hoffman says, "What if you don't want hurricane windows?"
Okay, what if you don't want hurricane windows? I don't understand what.
Maybe you were explaining it here when you were doing your.
So you don't have to put in hurricane windows, but what's going to happen is you're going to have to put in hurricane shutters or plywood. So now you're going to say, well, okay, a hurricane window costs $150 more. I want to save $150 by getting just a regular energy efficient window. Which, okay, fine, do that. But the plywood that it's going to take to put in that one spot is $50 to $80 a sheet. And it's going to cost the guys so much money to put in all the rivets to where the plywood's going to go on the exterior of the building. And you're going to have to store all the plywood somewhere on the property. So if you don't have space, you now have to find somewhere where you're going to put likely 55 pieces of plywood. And when there's a storm, you're going to have to put the plywood up on the window. When you account for all of that, you're going to be like, man, should I not just spend another $4,000, $5,000 one time to put in a hurricane window and avoid all of those other items I just mentioned? The answer is usually yes.
S2K Dell asks, what will happen if the lender finds out I don't actually live there?
Normally they'll never find out. They'll almost never find out. The only time they'll find out is if you default. And then even then they normally don't find out. It would have to be a very egregious thing that you did for them to find out that you didn't live there.
There's some talk here about if you have central air or window AC units. So what do you do for your properties?
Well, again, my properties are normally premium. I aim for premium properties because I get premium pricing, and my ROI, my return on investment is like 30 to 70%. So that's not always the standard example. So if you have window units, you can sometimes keep window units. Some places it doesn't matter. If you go from a window unit to a central unit or a mini split system, which central and mini split, they cost about the same amount, but they're a lot more than a window unit. A brand new window unit is going to cost you $150 to $550. A central system can cost you $8,000 for an apartment. If you put in a central system, that's not going to work. You have to use the other one. That's for the phone.
Gotcha.
There's another one that should be there. That's for a. 1 second,
Got it.
guys. There it is.
So continue.
If you put in an $8,000 AC unit, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get more rent. Why I was telling him he should renovate the whole property. A lot of times you're only as good as the worst part of your property. So if you upgrade the AC system, but you didn't upgrade the bathrooms and the kitchen, they might not care. They'll be like, okay, I'm not paying you more rent for that. What they might pay more rent for, some people are willing to probably deal with 8 window AC units and an older kitchen and bathroom, but they'll probably pay more money for a in-unit washer and dryer. So if you have a washer and dryer hookup in the unit where they can wash their clothes in their apartment and they don't have to go somewhere else, or a laundromat or a laundry room, that might be worth a lot of money to some people. You just gotta see, do the tenants, can they afford an extra $100 or $200 a month for an in-unit washer and dryer? If they can, you gotta basically give the people what they want. That's it. Give them what they want. And then you're gonna get the money. Figure what that thing is, figure out what they're willing to pay for it. Last point. Just because they want something doesn't mean they're gonna pay for it. So figure out what they're willing to pay for. Yeah, I would love a remodeled bathroom. Awesome. Do you want to pay an extra $200 a month for that? No. Then they don't really want a remodeled bathroom. It's what they want is what they're willing to pay for. That's your focus.
Brian Beto is asking about, that show that you're talking about. Where can he find it?
I think you can find Startup on Netflix.
Netflix.
It's a pretty good show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nelson Gabriel is asking, are you open to having an intern to learn from you?
I already have an intern. So I'm open to taking interns that have skill sets. So when I learned, I did something for the people I worked for. And in doing that for them, they also taught me at the same time. So I'm willing to take on interns, but what is your skill set? What can you provide? How can you add value? Because as I'm teaching you, you're taking me away from other things that I need to do for my business and my family. I'm willing to help you, but you gotta be able to help me help you. So what skill set do you have? Figure out what you can bring to the table.
And DM you?
Huh?
And DM you?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
DM Hannah.
Any advice for a beginner?
Study your market. There is nothing more important than studying your market. Right? There's things like save your money, get your credit up, get your tax returns right, do those things, right? Which is really good. But if you don't study your market and you buy a shitty property, you effed up your credit, you screwed up your amount of money you have, you lost money. Doesn't matter. If you study your market, you'll be able to find a good deal. The number one most important thing is finding a good deal. Because if you find a good deal, someone with money is going to give it to you. If you find me a good deal in the Tampa market, I will put up the money. That's the hardest thing to do. Find a good deal. It's not the money. There's a ton of money out there. Lots of money out there. A lot of people tell me they want to give me their money and invest with me. What I don't have is enough good, profitable deals. That usually becomes the hardest part, finding good deals. And that's always a problem. It's always finding more good deals, profitable deals, that aren't risky.
Is Zach Khalifa asked, is working a second job as part-time a good way to increase the amount of loan you qualify for?
It can, yes. It can. It depends if it's self-employed or is it an actual W-2 job. And if it's a self-employed job, they have to be doing it for at least 2 years for it to count.
D. Low Maximo asks, would you buy a multifamily property unseen with tenants occupied and has a 10% cap and potential for 40% equity in another state?
So you're making it sound really good, too good to be true. So the question is, would I buy something with those numbers without seeing it? The answer is yes. I bought certain property. The fourplex I was going to buy I did buy for $900. I said I'm going to buy it sight unseen. I saw some pictures. I did not go to the property, but I knew I wanted that area. So I did buy something. I basically bought something sight unseen. So, given that, normally it doesn't have a 10 cap rate. I was buying it at like a 5 cap, but the potential I could bring it to is a lot higher than that. If you're getting offered a 10 cap with 40% equity and all this other stuff, why isn't someone local going to buy it? When something good comes up, within 10 minutes I buy it. Anything good in the Tampa Bay market, within 10 minutes I bought it. So there's people in each city that function similar to me. One of those guys would have bought it already if it was a good deal. Not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying tread lightly. Be careful.
Okay, we're gonna go live with Sal. While we're waiting for Sal, Zach asks, what type of property is best to buy for an absolute beginner to real estate? Also, what is one mistake you made starting out that you wish someone helped you avoid?
Going too small. I avoided that. What was the other question?
What type of property is best to buy for an absolute beginner to real estate?
Okay, so it depends on the deal, right? Because the easier it is, the less problems, the better. So you could potentially buy a piece of land and someone wants to pay you to rent the land and there's nothing on it. That's a good deal because there's not really much room for mistakes to happen. Otherwise, I'd buy it. The best type of property to buy with the best loans are usually owner-occupied 1 to 4 family. So I would say buy a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, preferably a quadplex. But location over number of units. So it's better to buy a duplex in a good location than a fourplex in a bad location. So buy a great property in a great location and try to get as many units as possible.
The one mistake you made starting out that you wish someone helped you avoid was going small? What do you mean by that?
I only bought a duplex for $140,000 and I used $30,000 down. So I put down 30 something thousand dollars, which is 20%. I should have been a little bit more aggressive, maybe bought a fourplex in a better area or a duplex in a better area and put down 10% or 5%, something like that. The return is just so much better. I would have made a higher ROI on my money and my time, and I would have bought a better area. So that was when I started buying cheaper areas. I wish I had someone that understood what I understand now and explained it to me in a way where I would have understood don't buy in a cheap area. There is money to be made in better areas.
Berto D. Barber says, is a 3-family house a good start for a total beginner?
I wouldn't buy houses. So the worst ROI is a condo. The second worst is a townhouse. The next after that is a house. So I wouldn't buy anything less than 2 units.
Nelson Gabriel asked, what makes an area good in your opinion?
So I buy in the area. So I'll tell you what I look for, and then you're gonna have to figure out what's in your area that would match. Because I can't tell you close to the water and you live in Kansas, right? It's probably not gonna work for you. So I buy in a secondary and tertiary market, which means I don't buy in the big city. I buy in a second and third big city around that big city. I don't buy in Tampa. I buy in St. Petersburg, in Safety Harbor, in Dunedin. Because those markets do not have the big waves that the primary market has. All of the outsiders buy in the primary market. They don't really buy in the secondary and tertiary market that much. Then, within that market, I normally look for a property on the water or a couple of blocks away from the water that was built well so it's not crazy high flood insurance. Am I willing to pay for flood insurance? Yes. But do I want to pay a crazy amount where it eats up my profit? No. I buy in a property that is close to like a baseball stadium, to a football stadium. I buy properties close to great restaurants that are normally on brick pavered roads that the land has much flexibility, so I can actually, if I wanted to bulldoze a building and put a restaurant, I could do that. I buy properties that have a lot of variables, many variables at winning, not just one. I buy properties that have many different types of people that want to rent it, not just one type of person. For example, if it's only a college town, if the college is doing bad, most people are doing bad. Or if it's only one hospital in the area, there's not many other businesses, if the hospital does bad, everybody does bad. I don't like being stuck with one option. I like many different types of demographics wanting to rent the property. And normally I want each demographic to have money. Or they don't have to be wealthy, but they have to be able to afford a better living standard. Because your rent is based off of income. Now, people have said, Baskal, I would love to have this. And I provided them that. When I was younger, I didn't understand. They didn't have the money to pay for that. Or they're just unwilling to pay for it. So I aim people that can afford to pay for what they want.
Why do you say townhomes are second to worst investment?
The ROI is horrible. The return on investment, very, very bad, very, very low. Now, if I ran the numbers, I would show you that they're really bad. Condos are normally the worst ROI on investing. 99.9% don't make any money. And if they are making money, they're making like basically inflation rate, which is not profitable. You're just basically covering your inflation. So it's not a profitable play.
Berto D. Barber asks, how can I find a good deal?
Study your market. Once you study your market, you'll know what's a good deal for your market.
And do I need a real estate agent?
Sometimes you do, but that's not important, right? When I found the deals, I found the deal, then I went and got an agent to go help me buy it. But most agents, like 1 out of 1,000 knows what they're doing. Most of them don't know what they're doing. They know how to sell you something. They don't know if it's a good deal. Those are two different things.
But you have your good agents.
I have a couple people that I use that are good, and there's a lot of good ones out there that I know that are good. I just don't use them because there's not a correlation. Because some of them that are good are probably good as agents that find people places to live. They're good at that. I'm not looking for a place to live. I'm looking for an investment property targeting people that can afford to pay high rents. That's a different skill set. So you have to look for the team member that has the skill you need. Because think of this game like, baseball or soccer, or football, any sports team. Each player is basically running by themselves. They're doing their own thing. But their job becomes so much easier if they have other people on the team that can assist them.
Do you have advice for a college student who's trying to get into real estate?
Study your market.
And
don't get a stupid amount of student loans.
Brian Beto asks, is getting a real estate license worth it just to have access to the MLS?
No. I don't have a real estate license, and I've bought properties right away that hit most of them I buy them off of the MLS, so they're not even properties they're not like someone sliding me deals. That's only happened a couple of times. Most of them is me knowing what's a good deal and calling the realtor up and say, yo, I'm going to buy it within 10 minutes or less of it hitting the market.
Follow up on that townhome. I'm under contract for a townhome for $105K. I can rent it out for $1,100 in a gentrification area, and it's not a great area, but the worst area. What do you think? No HOA fees.
There's no way it's no HOA fees. It's townhouse. There's no way. There has to be HOA fees if it's a townhouse. So, but the answer is you're coming close to the 1% rule, which sounds good, but the numbers are again, the number one mistake I made was going too small. It's better for you to save up your money for the down payment, get a fourplex that's $400,000, and you're going to be better off. Because even if there is hypothetically no HOA fees, If the roof goes bad on that townhouse, you're going to spend $5,000 to $7,000 to change that roof. If you had a fourplex and the roof goes back on that property, you're only probably going to pay around $14,000 to change that roof. So your cost per roof is 50% less. Your maintenance is 50% less. Your costs and your expenses are so much lower when you price them per unit. So your return is higher. You make more money. And your first loan is the easiest loan. So make sure you get a multi-unit.
Nelson says, I have a property in 33607 wood frame. Would you be interested in buying it?
That sounds like it's an OSC.
I don't know.
The answer is yes. Is it a house or a multi-unit?
Hey, Nelson, do you want to go live? Let's get the party started. Next one here, Carson Guilford. So tell me, what's the market looking like at the moment?
It's lit. I don't know if you look outside, but it's hot out there. It is hot out there. So
Zach asks about your course that they can take for the real estate journey.
So the course is Foundations of Personal Finance. It's basically everything that you need to know to have a strong foundation to make sure that when you want to buy a property, you can get to 23 units by the age of 23. So if you haven't gotten to 23 units by the age of 23, then you need to take the course. One woman told me, she's like, well, I already have like 3 properties or 5 properties. She's like, I don't really need to take your course. I said, do you have 23 units? No, I don't. Then you probably don't know something that's in the course. So there's a lot of stuff that you did not know you didn't know. So you would not even think of asking that question because you never even thought of even coming to the area where you could ask that question. And you need to watch a course like 2 or 3 times. You are gonna miss a lot of the information because there's a lot of nitty-gritty details that means a lot that you'll just, oh, I got that. No, you need to listen a few times because there's layers and layers below that. So again, it's like I made it super cheap so people can really learn. You're gonna learn a lot because what you're gonna come is you're gonna come to this lab and ask some real questions. Because right now it's like, what do I do? Okay, 99% of the people I'm gonna tell you is study your market, save your money. Right? Because most people haven't gotten past to ABCs. That's the ABCs. Now, until you take the course and until you study your market, you're literally going to ask ABC questions. You know?
Where can they find the course?
Link in the bio on IG. And if you need help, just DM me, and then Luke will get back to you and send you, get you set up.
Okay. Zarian Omar asks, do I hire a lawyer for RDB restatement?
RDB restatement. I'm trying to think what RDB restatement means.
I don't know if there's a typo or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the answer is if you need to hire a lawyer, it's really dependent on your state. Because if you're talking about closings, title agents do closings in Florida, it's not lawyer. If you're talking about zoning and development, stuff like that, a lot of the GCs will handle that, not a lawyer. The only time if you're actually needing a lawyer is if you're actually needing someone to help you do rezoning, but then normally that's an engineering firm, and a land developer. They're going to help you redo it. So lawyers don't really get involved too often unless they have a dual function. Like my lawyer is a lawyer and a GC. So he gets involved because he has a dual function in his knowledge.
Oh, Nelson can't connect right now. He's still working. But he's saying it's in 33607 SFHARV 315 asking 200K, 50K repair.
Single family? Probably not interested. But DM me that, probably not interested because again, I do flip some homes, but I really look for multis. Send me the address. And depending on the location, like I said, location. Depending on the location, I might do it just because I'm like, oh man, I really want a property on that street. And it's literally street based. I might not buy on certain streets, but within the same town, I'll buy on that street because that street I know is going to be good.
So just DM you?
DM me.
Okay. Baskal, you said to get a fourplex for $400,000, but how do I get a loan for that much? I can't borrow that much.
How do you know that? For real, you don't even know that. You're saying that, but I know you don't know that. Because one, if you have the down payment, you'd only need 3.5% down. So 3.5% down, let's say you put down 5%, $20,000. Closing cost, $10K, $30,000. You get a seller's credit for, you can go up to 6% on a seller's credit. But let's just say you get a 3% seller's credit. That's $12,000. So now you're coming to the table with about $14,000. You're saying I can't afford it. How do you know you can't afford it? Because I know you have your income, and your income can afford a certain amount of property. But what you did not know is those other 3 units that are currently rented there, those 3 units are added to your income. When it's added to your income, you now can afford a larger loan. So yes, the income from the property that you don't even own yet, that income, those rents will be added to your ability to repay and increase your chance to get a $400,000 property. That's what I'm saying. I wish I had someone to help me think bigger and do something bigger, or buy a better area and pay more for the property. I was focused too much on cap rate. No, do not waste your time looking at cap rate. You want to buy a location, great location. You're going to become wealthy that way. Otherwise, you're going to buy yourself a job. You don't want to end up with a duplex in a lower income area, having to do everything yourself because you can't afford to hire anybody, because all you did was buy yourself a job. You want to pick something that you're going to build generational wealth. And if you think buying properties in a hood is going to give you generational wealth, you're going to be really, really disappointed with your results. Unless you got enough pockets to buy like 50 of them and then have a management crew and maintenance and da-da-da-da-da.
Your course page is not working. They mentioned.
DM us and we'll fix it. We'll get it. We'll send you out another link. Okay. We just did an update to the website today, so that's why it's probably having a mistake because of that update.
Okay. And that's it.
What time is it?
It is 10:27.
What time?
10:27.
I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Today you learned a lot. Bring your questions. Take the course. Study your market. And bring me some hard questions. You guys are going to do great. I love you. Good night.